Gekko.
Hey, what's good?
One of the many agents in Valorant who isn't just a big Pokemon reference, because according to V-Stats, is actually... Wait, he's really good? Wait, I usually cover the most underrated agents in Valorant, but today I decided to flip things around and play an agent that a lot of people actually play. But just because he's at the top statistically, does that mean it's enough to carry someone who doesn't actually play him? To find out, I played 10 hours of Gekko to see if he is actually really good. Of course, we've got some rules and goals. 1, I can only play ranked. 2, I'm gonna try to get a match MVP. 3, I'm gonna rank up as much as I can. And last but not least, I can only play Gekko. And without further ado,
Way. My crew is coming through.
first of all, if you're new around here and you're unfamiliar with my game, well, let me show you it real quick. Oh, what a stinker. Dude, I'm so ass. I know, complete stinkers. But my excuse is that after doing my placements once the new episode started, I took a little break, which, clearly improved my game. Anyways, in the first few hours, it was obvious that my aim was ass. But playing Gekko was actually pretty easy. I was sort of just throwing my util towards the enemies and somehow managed to work. And I mean, one of his abilities literally plants the spike for you. But that's sort of where my first issue came in. Yeah, sure, I felt pretty useful just throwing my util out there, but then I was really reliant on just throwing out my util before even thinking of shooting my gun. So sometimes I was just dying with my pants down. To put it simply, I wasn't shooting my gun, and sometimes instead of using util, I should have just shot at them. So with that in mind, I decided to finally turn my monitor on and focus more or less on my aim, while also being annoying with my util.
Plant the spike, Wings.
Yeah, I got knifed. You know what, so what? It's not like he had a classic and I had a guardian. Everyone gets knifed at least once in their life, It's not like... In hour 4 and 5, things... Yeah, they weren't looking too good. But you know what I hate more than getting knifed or getting 13 and 0'd in Valorant? Fake comebacks. Just take a look at this game where we're obviously getting our ass kicked, but slowly but surely, when I blink, it's suddenly 11 and 11. And that feeling of, oh shit, we're actually gonna win this, is just completely ruined after we just lose. I don't know, it's just the worst feeling, but at least you could say you tried your best. But now I've run into another problem, which kind of goes against my first problem. Sometimes I became kind of hesitant on when to use my util, and dying with full util as Gekko is a big no-no. And that's because of how good Gekko's util is at pretty much doing anything. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, let me show you. Gekko has 3 abilities, which are his creatures: Mosh Pit, Wingman, and Dizzy. Mosh Pit is a big puddle grenade which deals a small amount of damage over time before exploding. Wingman is this little yellow guy who has 2 uses, one where he seeks enemies to concuss, and the other being able to plant a spike. Dizzy is Gekko's signature, which flashes enemies that are caught within its line of sight. And last but not least, his ultimate ability is Thrash, which is some sort of land shark that Gekko controls, in which he can lunge forwards to explode, detaining any player's hit within a small radius. Now, you're probably wondering, why is Gekko so good? Well, it's because Gekko can pretty much have infinite abilities. Aside from a few exceptions to Thrash and Mosh Pit, Gekko's abilities all turn into orbs after being used, which Gekko can then grab and gain another charge to his ability. This is what makes Gekko a great agent, since you can recycle his abilities and reuse them over and over and over again within one round. Now that you understand Gekko's kit, you can sort of tell why I'm struggling to find the balance between spamming his abilities and knowing when to just shoot at them instead. And aside from my match history looking like Christmas, I knew that I had to get over this little slump to be a better Gekko player. In hours 6 and 7, I focused on mainly finding that balance that I was talking about earlier to bring the best out of my Gekko, but that didn't mean I wasn't also trying to learn a couple of new things about Gekko. The main thing in particular was Dizzy lineups. You see, I quickly learned that Dizzy is something that you should really be abusing as Gekko, since not only does she blind enemies, you can also use her to get early info or just info in general, and getting the slightest bit of information can win you a lot of rounds in Valorant. Like take this one for example that I see a lot of Gekkos do on A side of Sunset, where you just jump and throw your Dizzy in the air to check if there's a push happening or not. And with a quick search on YouTube, I picked up a couple of pretty useful Dizzy flashes. Some of my favorites are this window flash on Vine, which would catch people off guard, this one on Haven, which catches any early aggression in mid, and this retake flash on Ascent, which can blind a lot of angles. But something that you should take into account for is that Dizzy can give you some false information as well, albeit not all the time, but just remember that people can hide from your flash, so make sure you aren't caught with your pants down. I also learned the hard way that there's a second breakable in mid abyss. Aw, fuck. But something that's actually useful that I learned was something that had to do with Thrash. I figured that sometimes it's better to just make space and to put myself in a spot that I can easily reclaim my Thrash. But other than that, I kept going and continued the challenge with a little more knowledge than before. In hour 8 and 9, my friends came and joined me in a couple of games, which is always welcome.
Up we go! Someone's there.
2 main, like 3 main.
No sweat. My buddy's defused.
Chamber right side and 1 left side.
50 on the chamber right side.
Last player standing.
Wingman's
One
down.
enemy remaining.
Up we go! Crash is ready.
Last player standing.
Nice.
One enemy remaining.
Short.
Dizzy's up top. Dizzy's down. Please, please, Dizzy, please. Dizzy's up top.
No one's over mid.
Sage. Oh, never mind. Here's a lineup.
Dizzy's up. Somebody's there.
Elbow. Raise elbow.
Spike down B. One enemy remaining.
Nice.
Defenders win.
Hey look, you know what? At least I'm not losing alone. Anyways, I want to talk more about Thrash, since I found a couple of things about it that I found pretty cool. First of all, the things that most people know already is that Thrash actually goes forwards by itself, meaning you don't have to hold W the entire time. Also, you can actually click again to detonate yourself earlier than having to watch the entire animation play out. Now, those things are cool and all, but the thing that I found, but I don't actually know if it's true, is that you can actually make Thrash go further by letting it ramp up in speed for just a tiny second, and then you start B-hopping. Look, I'm not entirely sure on this though, so just test it out yourself, and don't get mad at me if it's wrong. Now, with an hour left to go, it's safe to say that I found that balance between my util usage and knowing when to just shoot what was in front of me. And since I wanted to end this challenge on a good note, I knew I had to lock in for just a couple more games and finish this Gekko challenge with a bang. So here's a montage of that last hour.
Seven. 5. Okay. There's 2.
Last player standing.
I'll take it.
One enemy remaining. Last player standing.
Crash got a hit.
Handle down on both sides.
with that, 10 hours of Gekko is done. As for our goals, we finished this challenge with a match MVP and 2 team MVPs. And we started off in Diamond 3 and ended in Ascendant 2. Now, as for Gekko, I give him the stamp of approval, and by that, I mean he really is a good agent. Like, those numbers really aren't just for show. And as for why I think he's good, well, it's because of how simple he is. Gekko really doesn't take that much to play, and if anything, I think anyone can easily learn him off of 2 or 3 games. And sure, I talked a little bit about some cool tricks I found while playing him, but in reality, you could easily play Gekko without knowing all the fancy things. And I think this simplicity is what makes Gekko to be such a good agent. And in a game where we've got agents with varying skill levels, I think Gekko is just one of those agents that can be great in any rank you play, since he's able to achieve a lot with such a basic kit. And shit, if I could be useful without being able to aim, it should show you how good he is. Now, you won't believe me, but I think you should play Gekko, since he's an easy pickup and a great add to anyone's agent pool. And who knows, you could just be a Gekko main. That's it for this video. Sorry it took a while to upload, but I hope you're enjoying your summer at least. And as always, leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and comment below who I should play next. Thanks for watching. Peace.